Field of 68. Field of 68 till I die. You got somebody, hey, Jeff, shut up. No.
I'm sorry, man. I blacked out for a second.
This is Coach Bruce Pearl. I love the Field of 68 after dark. I listen to it all the time. This is Duke head coach John Shire. Check out Field of 68 after dark.
This is Xavier head coach Sean Miller. I highly encourage you to take a look at After Dark, led by the one and only John Phantom.
Now, listen to you guys every morning when I'm getting ready. From the bluest of the blue bloods to the smallest of the mid-majors. This is Field of 68 after dark.
Welcome into Field of 68 After Dark, powered by Bet Rivers. Catch us on SiriusXM channel 84. That's college sports radio. We're also on the Field of 68 YouTube. You know what to do. Like, subscribe. Gentlemen, it is March. Let's go. First After Dark of one of the greatest months on the sports calendar. And, buddy, we got the month started with a bang. We got Kentucky going down at the house to unranked Vanderbilt. And I'm sure they are taking that one really well in Lexington tonight. So we're going to get into that. I'm John Martin. I'm joined here by Jeff Goodman of Stadium and, of course, Randolph Childress, ESPN and Field of 68 college basketball analyst. A lot to get to, gentlemen. Packed day, as always, in college basketball. How we doing?
It's good, man. Like you said, it's March. It's money time.
Yeah, we're good. We're good, man. We're good.
I'm
ready to go.
Yeah.
I'm ready to go.
Yeah. That's blasphemous, really, what you're doing right now.
For those who can't see, who are listening on Sirius, I just threw on a Memphis Tigers hat in honor of John Martin, a host in radio in Memphis, and Randolph Childress, who is ready to spar with me later in the show about Penny Hardaway and whether he's the right guy to lead the Memphis program going forward. So that's a good tease for later. Yeah, John, let's go.
Yeah, so we'll get to that. And like I said, one of the things that I like to do when I'm wrong, just like so blatantly wrong about something, I want to double down on it. I want to triple down on it. I want to make sure that I can look like the biggest possible jackass. And so, yes, one of us on this show is going to do that a little bit later. But before we get into that, Memphis isn't playing. We got lots of games that we need to touch on today. And it figures to start with maybe one of the more surprising outcomes of the day. Vandy goes into Rupp as a double-digit underdog, and they win at Kentucky for the first time since 2007, 68-66. John Calipari didn't even want to do post-game radio. He said, I'm tired. What do we think, fellas?
RC?
Some of those guys didn't get off the – I mean, let's be fair, too. When Wallace got hurt, we knew they were in trouble at that point without Xavier Wheeler. So we knew that I thought they were in trouble in the game. Obviously, they had enough. Oscar was playing well. He was 20-20, 21-20, whatever number he finished up with point-wise. I think it was 21. I thought they had no answer for him. They went so small. I thought maybe they can pull it out. Credit to Vandy, man. They played their ass off. They competed. Jordan Wright, bucket at the end. Looked like they were picking on the freshman. They picked on him quite a bit in ball screens at the end there, Livingston. And, it's not his fault. But, I've said it all year. I don't think Kentucky has enough shooting. I didn't think they'll live up to the expectations that we thought all year long, that everyone in place coming off last year. They'll make the tournament, how far they go. I don't have them going very deep. So none of this really surprises me.
Well, that's the big thing, right? I mean, if Reeves isn't making them, what do you got? Like, he's got to make them. And C.J. Frederick has been so erratic because he's been hurt. He's been hurt all year. And to me, the most important player in that team is clearly Casey Moss. And it's not even close to me.
Yeah.
As he goes, they go. And, Cal said after the game, he's hoping the Casey Moss will be okay for Saturday, limped off. I think it was a right leg injury. But you gotta have him healthy because, again, he's your only point guard right now. Maybe with Wheeler, if he's healthy, maybe they have a shot in that game. But when you have no point guard,
Yeah.
you have no chance. And that's kind of what happened at the end of that game. It's just everybody kind of jumped on that wagon, right? Everybody was back. It felt like on the Kentucky wagon here. They moved up to, even in our bracketology, I think to a 6 seed, 6, 7, somewhere around there. Now the implications of this are you do not want to fall to 8, 9 if you're Kentucky. No. You got to stay away from 8, 9. Not that the ones are like incredibly overpowering, but you don't want to see Houston in the second round. You probably don't want to see Alabama in the second round. You probably don't want to see a UCLA in the second. Like, there are a few teams that Purdue's no longer there. You don't want to see Kansas. Like, you don't want to be in that 8, 9 game. And right now they're probably squarely on that 8, 9 line.
Yeah, I mean, their metrics look good, but at what point this season have they? I mean, even going back to, the first game against Michigan State, I mean, I don't really know how Cal let it get to a point to where they're so one-dimensional. And Sheboy is as good of a one dimension as you can have in college basketball, but Kentucky should never be one-dimensional, period. I mean, who do you trust beyond Oscar to hit a shot?
I love Kaysen personally.
I mean, he's going to be a great. But he's a freshman. Yes. He's a freshman, and he's
not a great shooter. Remember, he started off. It was like fool's gold. Early, we were all like, "Oh my God, Kaysen Wallace! He's shooting 40 from 3." Yeah. Sometimes RC, you know this. You saw this. I don't know what you shot like your freshman year in college. If you came out of the gate shooting well, normally most guys are not like Brandon Miller or Grady Dick. They don't shoot it that well early on as freshmen. And Kaysen did that and then came down to earth.
Yeah, so that's been my issue with Kentucky all season long, is that for as much as Cal is known as this wizard with guards, going back to UMass, Memphis, like, he has allowed Kentucky, at least this iteration of them, to get to a point where they don't have any, beyond Kaysen, any reliable shot makers, any reliable guards. It's just, let's throw it into Oscar. Let's pray he can get a foul. He can get an offensive rebound, and so I don't, like, to me, they're one and done in this tournament. Like, they'll get in, like, they got some, decent enough wins, the strength of schedule, the net ratings, all that. They'll get in, but I don't think this Kentucky team has the ingredients whatsoever to make a second weekend appearance. I mean, when's the last time Kentucky has made a Final Four under Cal? That has to start, and I know it already has been. I know it already has been a discussion.
Been a while.
I want to say 2015. I mean,
he was so good early.
Yeah. You got your Memphis basketball hat on. You want to talk shit about Memphis? I mean, we got one title at Kentucky under Cal. We got one title. That's it. And we don't have.
Tell him, John.
We don't have a Final Four appearance in Lexington in 8 years, my guy. All the talent that's come through there, and this is what it's ended up. One title we got? Come on, man. I mean, that's what, and I know that conversation's being had. So this isn't groundbreaking or new ground.
Yeah, I think, listen, if they didn't get in, if they completely were fading the way they were a month ago, I think then it would be a different scenario right now, because they're still going to get in the tournament.
Right.
There's hope. 8, 9 game, you can win that. And then if you lose to Houston in the second round, it's a bad year, but it's not a miserably bad year. And again, listen, 2 wins against Tennessee changed the whole fortune of this team this year, by the way.
Everything changed with these guys, because the expectation was coming off of last year exit from the tournament. It was like, all right, natty or bust. And then we just knew early this wasn't going to be a national championship team. So they turned things around. They made it to the tournament. Your whole Kaysen Wallace is healthy. This is as good as they're going to get. They'll get in. I don't think anybody's expecting them to go far.
Yeah, I mean, and I just think, and I know we're going long on Kentucky here, but I really think this is a situation that has the chance to reshape college basketball a little bit, depending on what happens up there. I mean, Cal's leaving the post-game radio show to Orlando Antigua. I mean, that's not normal. I think
it's normal when they lose.
Well, okay. Yeah, exactly. I just feel like everything at Kentucky is graded on a curve. So whereas you may say, it's not a miserable year, and it's not by most standards.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like it should be looked at as a miserable year with what they're paying Cal, what that standard is supposed to be. I mean, it's gotten pretty bad when we're sitting here saying, well, if you lose to Houston in the second round, we can look ourselves in the mirror. I mean, that to me represents a pretty steep fall for them.
Yeah.
So anyway, we'll see how they finish the season. I just don't have a lot of faith whatsoever in their ability to compete in this tournament. Around the SEC, ended up being a pretty good game. Goes to overtime, but Alabama does survive against Auburn, 90-85, down by as many as 17 in the second half. It doesn't usually look pretty with Bama, but I feel like there is something to be said for the way they find ways to win games. I feel like this was another example of that tonight.
They're talented. They're talented, RC. I mean, that's the
good.
bottom line.
Yeah.
They can make mistakes and still overcome them, like they did at the end of that game. They fought back. They were down big, fought back, took the lead, almost pissed it away. Mark Sears made a couple kind of bonehead plays there at the end. But again, they're so talented. They got other guys. That's the beauty, right? Jaden Bradley doesn't play well, but you got Javon Quinterly coming off the bench there playing great tonight.
They're one of the few teams that can spot somebody 17 points and come back like they did. I mean, I know they were home. It's why we all think that they're going to be in Houston. I do. I should say that, and been on that
You
train
still
for quite
okay?
some time.
So you still do, even with all the and I haven't talked to you about this.
Yeah,
with all the distractions that have gone on involving Brandon Miller and the young guys. Some of the young guys, they got 4 young dudes, freshmen on that team. You're not worried at all when they get up there on the podium and get peppered with questions in the NCAA tournament about this. You're not worried at all.
Because you can control that. You don't have to take the freshman up there. If Quinterly plays like this, I'm taking Quinterly to the post to the presser.
All right.
And you can ask Quinterly all the questions you want. I'm gonna take all my vets up there and leave them out of there. And the one thing, as we all know, you get on the court, it all goes away. That's the sanctuary when you get out there and playing with all the distractions going on, and they're just talented as hell. Length, size, shot, shooting. I think the most underrated thing, everybody talks about the analytics and how many threes they shoot. I think they put so much pressure on you in the rim and in the paint that people just take it for granted, and then when you rotate, they get their threes, but they actually control the paint. So I'm on board with them. This game wouldn't have changed anything. I think Auburn threw everything at them because they trying to make a late season push to get in the tournament. They needed it for a resume.
I also feel like in terms of just pound for pound talent, there are not many guys in college basketball that can match Brandon Miller.
Not many. How about not any?
Right. I mean, I think you can say that.
Right. How about not any?
I think you can say that.
Yeah. No, his upside, because again, the best players in the country right now, John, are a lot of them are plotting bigs. Right. They're not guys you can just give the ball to and say, hey, go make a play. And oh, by the way, even if they play great D on you, you can still make a shot on them.
The play of the game was, I thought when he drove it, they had a guard on him. He drove it, shot it, got his rebound. And then I think in overtime where it kind of just put him up 5 or whatever it was like one of those plays where you're just like, all right, how many people are giving it to a guy that size on the perimeter? Go get me a bucket. And he does.
And the other thing too about Brandon that's underrated is his ability to make foul shots.
Yeah.
You can't, like a lot of these young kids, right? You put them on the free throw line, they're not consistent. And I know, that sounds like I'm like the old white guy. You got to make your free throws. But that's a real strength for his game, though. Because Randolph mentioned the pressure. Yeah, you cannot guard him downhill. No. And now, okay, you foul him. He's gonna 80% of the time he's gonna make the shots at the front. That's what he does.
84 for a freshman. Yeah. I mean, think about it. He's shooting 42 from 3 and 84 from the line, 47 from the field as a freshman.
Yeah.
That's really impressive.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think Alabama is a team, and we see them in college basketball. It to me just they feel like a team that if you catch them in a 3-week span where they're shooting 45% from 3, they're going to be tough to beat. On the other hand, if you catch them on a weekend or a week where they're shooting 25% from 3, then I think they can be exploited. They're just one of those volatile teams where when it's really good, it's among the best in the country, and they can be had too if it's
They
not.
can't be great, right? They can't be great teams having a really poor shooting night, but they can beat teams
Right.
like Auburn that are like, okay, they can beat those teams shooting 30%, 28% from three.
Yep. And they like, you know, you mentioned Quinterly, like, yeah, they might have young guys sort of at the margins, but like when it counts, they do have guys that have been in those situations before. And then you just sort of, right, you just pepper it around with that freshman talent that they have. And I mean, we talked about what Kentucky doesn't have. These are the ingredients that can lead you to, because I don't know if there's a great college basketball team this year. Like, I don't feel like there's one that just rises above the rest. I think you have like 5, right? And Alabama is one of those 5.
Yeah,
So,
100%. 100%.
you know, and again, like,
talent-wise, I mean, shoot, you can make a case they're one.
Well, that was going to be my question. Of all the teams that we're considering in number one, from Kansas to Purdue or Houston, wherever you rank them, I don't think talent-wise any of us are picking them over Alabama.
No. And again, they've got young talent. They've got some older dudes. You know, Sears he didn't play like an older dude down the stretch, but he's got some experience.
Burnett.
Quinterly's been around forever. You know, to me, they got small guards, but they make up for it with their front line.
Yep.
Yeah. So here's what we're going to do. We got some major news in college basketball earlier today. A high-profile departure at Iowa State in Caleb Grill. What happened? Why is he no longer on the team? We're going to get into that when we come back, because our man Jeff might just have some insight to shed on that. You're listening to the Field of 68 After Dark right here on Sirius XM Channel 84. Back after this.
And click.
That just blew any Doster tease so far out of the water.
Everyone.
We're off to a great start, guys.
I hope Doster's listening right now. Doster, listen and learn to John Martin and his
He
team.
just texted and said, holy shit.
Did he? He did. I love it. All right,
He just texted
let's
and
take
said,
some
Martin walks in with the best teas ever.
of the year. All right, what do we got?
Okay, first chat question from Dagan, whoever that might be. John, describe Jeff Goodman in 3 words.
Punk ass bitch.
Oh, jeez. Damn.
He come at that jump tonight.
I mean,
ready.
the hat is really
The head
why
got you
it's
going, John.
happening.
That's what it is.
I mean,
The
he's
dude,
not.
by the way, I asked
I
him.
think I sent him that hat.
No, you sent me some Landers Nolly bullshit shirt. You remember? That's what you sent me. This little $5 shirt that he probably picked up on the street.
shirt, bro. That was an NIL fund shirt. That shit was like $40.
30.
I hope you didn't spend $40 for that shirt.
Fuck, I did.
You gave
It was
$40 to Landers Nolly NIL?
I'm sure it ended up being like 20 or some shit.
Damn.
Hey, Cam
Hey, so
Winter
you-
hit a dagger, too.
I saw that.
Penn State.
Big shot. Big shot.
Penn State won.
Yeah. 10 seconds. buzzer.
Here we go.
Welcome back to the Field of 68 After Dark. We're on Sirius XM Channel 84. We're on YouTube. You know what to do if you haven't already. Go over to the Field of 68 YouTube, like it, subscribe. This is the most comprehensive college basketball network on the planet. 6 nights a week. All right. We're doing shows. It's amazing. Nobody else loves you like that. So make sure you like and subscribe. There are some other games around the country, guys, that we have not yet touched on. History was made not just in Lexington earlier today, but over in the Big East Conference. Shout out to Johnny Fanta. Providence goes down for the first time this season at home. Xavier, 94-89, gets the win. It sort of feels like Xavier has found itself, right? The injury to Fremantle, they have kind of found a little bit of a rhythm. And look, it's easy to say this after the fact, but does Xavier not have the feel of a team that might be making some real noise, especially once Fremantle gets back?
It's going to be hard to fight against it. I mean, Fremantle, they said he's practicing. He should be ready for the Big East tournament. Their pace of play with the guys that they can attack you off the bounce with is a problem.
Yes.
Yep.
And now they got bigs that can space. They just can attack you so many different ways. But it's scary having that many guys where everybody, most teams will have one or two guys. They seem to put as many as 4 guys out there that can break you down off the bounce. Nunji's ability to space the stretch as a 5. I mean, when they get Fremantle back, they're going to be a tough out. That's a team you don't want to see in the tournament.
Is there a better, more impactful transfer in the country than Sule Boom this year? Like, I love Keontae Johnson. I love him.
I think that's that's the most crowded area.
Yeah, there's been a bunch
because
of good
there
ones.
are, you know what I mean? I can make
take
a case
Sule Boom off that team. Take him off Xavier, and what are they? Now you say the same thing with Keontae, but to me, Sule
Davis at Memphis. I mean, I think those are probably like if you're doing a Mount Rushmore.
But they'd still be an NIT team with. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. They're
not an NIT team, sir. So
kidding.
I know we'll get to this. We'll get to this. All right. We got a whole segment for that. But yeah, I look at the Big East and again, I know this is about Xavier, but it wouldn't shock me if the champ comes out of that conference. It really wouldn't.
I'm kind of with you. Like, I think there's a bunch of teams that have a shot. Now, again, are they the favorites? No. Yeah. But I could see Xavier making a Final Four run. I mean, they got a hell of a coach. Yep. As RC said, they got 2 guards that are very different, but both can make plays for themselves and for others, right? Like, that's what I love about Sule Boom and Kobe Jones. And, like, their defense has been way better with Hunter. So now when you put Fremantle in, you don't have to play him. You're probably not going to play him as long minutes now. You've got more versatility if you're Sean Miller. And Nunji's a problem because he's a tough matchup. And he's old. They got old dudes too. Old dudes win.
Yeah. I mean, UConn for me, like you always see that stat floating around of like, all right, the last 20 years, you had to be ranked in the top 20 of offensive efficiency in the top 15 or whatever it ends up being. And UConn, UConn just is rolling through folks right now.
Yeah.
They're putting I know it's DePaul, but I mean, they put the hurt on Providence last week.
I think DePaul and Georgetown should play and the loser gets relegated out of the league.
Yeah. I mean,
for a year, you're gone. You're gone for a year. You can go down to the America East. Go to the America East for a year.
Okay.
Feel good about yourself.
Yeah, at least put DePaul back in like CUSA or something.
Could they win?
Rated.
If you put DePaul and Georgetown right now in the America East, would they win the league, RC? Would they beat Vermont?
I don't think they could. It would be tough.
It'd be a war.
It'd be tough. It'd be a dogfight.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So super impressive performance on the road by Xavier. Real quick on Providence, like how we feeling? I mean, I know they're blessed, right? They are a team that is blessed, touched by an angel.
Yes.
But like, how are we feeling about them?
I mean, this is a rare home loss. And I'm telling you,
I don't want to be too hard on them, but
I did my list the other day of the top 5 home atmospheres that I've been to in the last however many years, 10 years, 5 years, whatever it is. Providence almost made that list. Yeah. It is really hard to win there. So, to me, I think it says a lot about Xavier's mental toughness now.
For sure.
Because we questioned that for 4 years. For 4 years, we've questioned Xavier's what do they do every year under Travis Steele? They do great early, and then they absolutely just kind of shit the bed late.
They crumble. Yep.
Yes. So what is this? To me, it says more about Sule Boom and Sean Miller.
Yeah. No, I think that's probably the right way to look at it. Yeah, you don't want to penalize Providence too much.
I mean, they're good. Providence is a good team. We never had illusions.
Yeah.
We never had illusions they were going to be a Final Four. If things broke right, maybe they could go to the Sweet 16 again. I'm not betting on them. I think they're probably, if they win a game in the tournament, that's a hell of a year.
Yeah. we got to pay this off. Mentioned before the break that there was a high-profile departure in college basketball. Caleb Grill, who, as we all know, put up 31 in a big-time early season win against North Carolina, was dismissed. Now, I don't recall exactly what the language was, Jeff. It was something like, you should be used to it not meeting the standards, right, of the program, which, is what I would say about you tonight and every other night that you were on this show. But what does that mean? Like, what the hell does that mean? Does not meet the standards?
So it means that over and over, he has not done the types of things that TJ Otzelberger expected of him. Nothing egregious, nothing illegal, just not being a good teammate over and over, according to my sources. And it got to a point where they just felt like, you know what, it was hurting. The way Iowa State has been able to do it for the last 2 years is built on like toughness, togetherness, getting the most out of their ability, playing harder, playing together. Yeah. And Caleb Grill was getting in the way of that. He wasn't doing those things. So I was told he had multiple opportunities. It didn't work. Again, his head got pretty big after that 31-point performance back in Portland that I was at against Carolina. And, they're 2-5, I think, in the last 7.
Yeah, they're kind of coming apart.
Yeah, I think it wasn't just TJ Otzelberger, but I think it was more, and a lot of the players as well.
That was a humiliating loss at home to Oklahoma.
Yes.
I mean, just because Oklahoma got run out of the gym tonight against an actually good team in Kansas State, right? But I do think it's not normal. This guy's a senior. He's shooting 37% from 3, like it's not normal for in the first day of March. Oh, by the way, you're just off the team.
Because you tolerated this much, and then you're thinking like how bad it had to be. Like you're at the end of the damn season, and then finally you get to the end, and you're like, man, you can't take it no more. Like the end is over. Right. It's already here.
Right. You don't need a 37. You can't deal with that shit for 3 more weeks for 37% shooting from 3.
Yeah.
So what's really going on, Jeff Goodman? You gotta really get into it, man.
No, that's it. I'm telling you. That's it. It was just over and over.
He must have been like, you know what? Sometimes less is more. We're already struggling.
And you're not winning. You're losing with a guy who's not buying in. So you're saying, you know what? If I'm going to lose with him,
I'm going to lose my way. Sit down.
I'm going to lose without him. Let me lose without him and the headaches. So I again, that's kind of what I was told here.
Sometimes as a coach, right, you sort of have to say, this is my line. And even if it might compromise me in the short term, like I gotta send a message to the rest of my team that like, this is not a place you come if you want to be a bad teammate,
that's what it is, John. That's a big part of it. Their culture, right?
Yeah.
Their culture is going to be what I said it was earlier.
It has to be, because they're not a school that's going to out-talent people.
Right.
So that's just a big part of what they're doing. If you're not buying in, you got to go. Like nobody.
Look at what it was when TJ was there as an assistant RC, under Hoiberg, and at the end McDermott. It was who? George Niang, Monty Moore, like dudes that just were culture guys. That's why they won.
Yeah. No, I think listen, maybe it doesn't happen in the middle, or I guess the end, like the very end of the season. But I mean, I can't tell you how many times, and you guys know too, where it happens at the end of the season, where you have those coach and player meetings. You say, listen, like I'm trying to go this way, and and we'll get to Penny later, but there were multiple instances after last season I know directly where he just went to guys who he felt like were not good teammates and were a little bit toxic, and he said, look, you're a good player for me, but I'm moving on, and it's depending on who you ask, it's worked out pretty well. But, I guess, again, as a coach, you do have to certainly make those calculations. So this was one where, you just see it and you're like, man, this is a senior, this is a 4-year guy. I know he had that year at UNLV, but, sometimes you gotta send those messages. Here's what we're going to do. Pitt, all you had to do to win a share of the ACC, you had one job. You had one job, Pitt. All you had to do was beat Notre Dame. Mike Bray's retiring. or at least from Notre Dame.
Yeah,
You know,
that's true.
all you had to do was beat Notre Dame. Could they do it? They could not. So we'll get into that when we come back. You are listening to Field of 68 After Dark. We're live on Sirius XM channel 84. Catch us on YouTube. We'll be back after this.
All right. Did you guys know that we are partnering with Run Your Pool? All right, Run Your Pool. It's going to be the official Field of 68 bracket contest. Rob has worked with these guys before, which is why we're all so excited to land this sponsor. They have more than 50 game types for every sport you can think of, from a traditional bracket pool to survivor games, head-to-head games, pickaxe games, and squares. The scoring is customizable. You can tell your bracket rules to your pool. Here's the best part. Run Your Pool is giving away $1,500 in cash prizes for free. That's right, for free, John. So your cheap ass can sign up. Just sign up at the link in the description, play.runyourpool.com/field of 68. That's field 68. Fill out a bracket whenever and be eligible to win. So you can sign up now to make it easier for when the brackets come out. We hope to see you guys on March 12th. And we already know who's going to win this thing, and it's not John Martin.
Actually, pretty
20
sharp,
seconds.
man. Plan on winning this year, actually.
That'd
I
be
don't
a
plan on
first.
winning other years. This year I do.
10 seconds. Here you go.
Welcome back to Field of 68 After Dark. It's powered by Bet Rivers. We're live on Sirius XM channel 84 College Sports Radio. Catch us on YouTube. We're live 6 nights a week after dark. So make sure you like, make sure you subscribe. Shout out to the chat. We got to get like a name, man. You know, like you gotta like call the people in the live chat something. You gotta give them like a nickname or something. You know what I'm
We're
saying?
going to leave that to you to come up with something.
I've been thinking about it, but
like
it
everybody's
hasn't
like the
hit me
chat
yet.
mob or something, right? Like that's too easy.
Isn't that like what was that the Monmouth bench? Like didn't they call themselves the bench mob or something
Yeah.
when they did all those crazy celebrations and stuff? Chat mob's fine. I'm
It's not
okay with
bad.
that.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think we have time to marinate on it, man. We don't want to rush that. It's a very important decision. So
It is March 1st, you know, so we wouldn't be rushing it.
Yes. Well, I mean, I just got here, man.
You did just get here.
I was banned for about a year and a half.
This is true. This is
unspoken reasons. Unspoken reasons. So I'm just now getting my. I don't want to be making executive decisions like that on my first day. But we mentioned before the break, history here for Pitt, right? I mean, a chance to win at least a share of the ACC. We're not going to talk about how down the ACC is. It ain't the time for that. All Pitt has to do to win a share is going to Notre Dame, which is awful, horrible. I mean, 10-19, and all they have to do is beat them. Yeah. And Jeff, they were getting run out of the building. They didn't do it. No share for the ACC title for you, Pitt Panthers.
Yeah, it's kind of sad because they had it right there in front of them, and we talked to Jamarius Burton the other day, and man, it's been a great story because again, Jeff Capel, we thought this was probably it for him. John Hughley, his best big man, plays a few games. He's done. Dior Johnson, well-traveled but talented freshman comes in and gets into some legal trouble, and he's done for the year. So you're thinking there's no shot Jeff Capel has of saving his job. And instead, it's Burton comes back. Nellie Cummings comes in. Blake Hinson, who hadn't played in about 2 years, comes in. And they're in position tonight. They're in position to do the unthinkable. One of the biggest surprises of the entire season. And they lay an egg tonight against Notre Dame. Maybe Capel just, honestly, maybe he just felt bad for Mike Bray. And he wanted Mike Bray to end his Notre Dame career with a victory. I don't think
they got
that's
Duke
it.
ties. They got the Duke ties
That's
together.
Right. Exactly.
In all seriousness, like, it's probably one of those deals where the moment is so big, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like
They're
they did
finally
not.
facing pressure.
But I'll say this to you guys. I don't know if they thought that because they still had to go into Miami next week
Yeah.
Right.
anyway.
Yeah.
So I don't think they went into it with.
But there's pressure tonight.
So
It
maybe
really
it was one of
started
those deals
tonight,
where they,
though.
like,
RC.
No.
kinda
I think it
got
would have
ahead
made
of
it a lot
themselves.
easier,
Right.
but it
Yeah.
wouldn't have mattered because it all
That's
boils
true.
down to next week.
Yeah.
This weekend they got to go to Miami, and it was going to be that anyway. If anything, I think they were a victim of thinking that this was going to be all right. This Notre Dame, they suck. We're going to go in there and get this one. We got to get ready for this weekend. That's going to be the game. I think it was more of that than thinking they weren't going to outright win it with today's win. And they came out the first half and was just, got into a horse contest with Notre Dame, and they shot their ass out the gym.
Without J.J. Starlin, Notre Dame didn't have him.
Yeah.
But you know who they did have? They had a damn bunch of former players that were there in attendance supporting Mike Brey for his last
Sold
game.
out.
And, you know, and Bray's so well liked that I think the current players probably played even harder for him in a
for sure.
situation like this. So
and look, I mean, Duke ties or not, I mean, that's still a chance to spoil it a little bit. You know, I mean,
sure,
you're not gonna clinch the share on me, big dog.
Yeah,
right.
And it's still, no matter how bad teams are when you get in the conference play, it's just a bitch winning on the road. It's just hard. It's hard winning on the road. It's hard, no matter how good you are or how bad you think someone is.
You know, it's just, you know, and that's why, you know, when you think about, I mean, Iowa State throws Caleb Grill off the team. They lose at home to Oklahoma. You know, they got to do something drastic, you know? So, I mean, it does. It speaks to, you know, just those splits, right? And also, we haven't mentioned it, but because I know that was yesterday, but like, to me, it makes what Iowa did yesterday at Indiana, like, wow.
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
I mean, because that was like, you know, that was an undressing top to bottom, first half, second half. Like, they kept it on. Like, that to me was one of the more impressive wins of the season. And it's so rare, right? It's why it sticks out.
You know what's crazy? In the last week now, we've had 3, at least that I can think of. There might have been more. But again, some of the top venues, Mackey, Assembly, Providence. In the last few days, all of them have lost. Like, they don't lose there. Those teams don't lose there. RC, is there something about, again, it's a grind this season? Are you looking past, to some degree, some of these games at the end, or is it just this year because of so much parity?
I think it's so much parity, but when I look at like the Big Ten game, I don't think there's many good three-point shooting teams in that league. And I don't think anybody can shoot with Iowa. So if Iowa gets hot, you got a problem. It's like Notre Dame. Nobody in the ACC can shoot with them. They can put 5 guys out there with Leshetsky at the 5. And if you get into a horse game with them and you don't get physical, you're going to lose. So I think it's some of that. I mean, we can throw that Pitt and Ohio State game in there tonight. I mean Maryland, I'm sorry, and Ohio State, same situation. You know, Maryland's playing in. We're not thinking Maryland's going to lose. They've been playing well, winners of 8 of the last 10. Then they go in and Ohio State handled them today. That wasn't really that close of a game. They handled their runs and
the whole time,
controlled the whole tempo, the whole game. So, I mean, it happens.
So are we ready? Are we ready to say that? And I think we said this, I don't remember at the beginning. I know I said it preseason. I think I picked Tony Bennett in Virginia to win the ACC regular season title. And they're going to get a share because they're not going to lose to Louisville. I mean, if they lose to Louisville at home, if Tony Bennett loses to Kenny Payne at home, I will buy RC every drink that you
I couldn't
that you take down in Houston. Every drink, every meal, whatever it is, I'm paying for it if Kenny Payne takes care of Tony Bennett and spoils another one, because that would be a share of at least 6 of the last 10 years.
Yeah, that
Virginia would win the ACC regular season.
It's so brave. This is so brave of you, Jeff.
I know. Well,
that's why RC's like not even like, he's like, yeah, okay, bro. Yeah,
he's like, he's odds.
Like, he's really, hey, look, he's really jumping out there, John. Like, that's really, like that's
the
funny.
dog.
Like,
I'm really reaching in my wallet for this one.
The dog shit in the middle of the court, man. The season's over for Louisville.
Yeah.
That was crazy.
That's the funniest thing this year.
That was
one shining moment. The dog shits on the court.
That's the funniest thing of the year.
It really was.
You know,
for people that didn't see it.
Oh my God.
For people listening or that didn't see it, halftime of the game, they brought out a dog to do some dog tricks, and the dog did a dog trick. He took a dump on the court.
Kenny
was
Payne's
great.
like, whoa, that's my job.
Yeah.
I can't be too hard on Kenny, man. I feel like I've been hard on him. Like in Memphis,
Yeah.
I've been hard on
We
him.
all have. We all have.
Yeah.
Great guy.
Yeah.
And he'll have next year to try to flip it. Try to flip it and be decent. Just honestly be
Hit the portal.
decent. Get where you're fighting for a
That's
tournament
right.
spot, maybe.
That's right. Hey, this is not RC's ACC, so we gotta touch on a real league. It's time.
Yeah.
Texas, TCU. Hey, it mattered to somebody that it was only a 2-point win. All right, it did. TCU does hold on 75-73 in a game, by the way, in which Mike Miles had 1 point.
Right.
Damian Baugh 24, 9, and 5. You know, one of the things I'll hear just around the country is that TCU, when they have Mike Miles and they have Eddie Lampkin and they have all their guys, is that they're one of the best in the country. Do you guys agree with that statement?
I don't know about one of the best in the country. I think they're a next tier team. They're a team that with a couple breaks could make a run of the Elite Eight, and it wouldn't shock me because of their guards, because of their veteran guards. And Emmanuel Miller's good. And yeah, they need Lampkin to get back to kind of what he was before the injuries. But, you know, they're older. They're older, and they've been playing together for a while, right? Yeah. I mean, O'Bannon feels like he's been around forever. Baugh, you know, has been around forever, John.
That's right.
They were talking about him being a lottery pick after his freshman year or a first-round pick at Memphis. So I like this team. I just, you know, I need to see him gel again, and they haven't quite done that. But this was a good win for them, and kind of saddens me a little bit because I kind of wanted that game, Texas and Kansas this weekend, to mean more.
Right.
And it would have been a game that if Texas had won this one, they would have played for a share. Not saying they would have won at Fog Allen, but at least it would have set up a meaningful game. Rodney Terry, a chance to win a share of a regular season title in Lawrence against Bill Self. It would have been kind of cool.
Well, that's why they put the hats on last night. I mean, I know like you do that, but like
I thought that game is in Texas. They already played them in.
In Texas. I'm sorry.
It is.
That would have been home.
My bad. So they could have won. You know.
Yeah.
I mean, legitimately, you got a good shot there.
I thought they were. I thought they were going to win it, and I thought if they had won that game tonight,
but it won't matter. Obviously,
it won't matter.
You know. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, Lampkin, when he's rolling, he is a problem.
Yes.
Like he's so big, man. He uses his mass so well.
I think they're a team that's going to be a nightmare to play against in a tournament because you're not going to be used to their size and you can't replicate their speed when the game starts. Everybody in the league knows, let's get back. And then a day they jumped out on Texas on the glass and was just dominant.
They can't shoot.
Yeah, they can't. That's the only thing that's knocking them. If they could shoot,
that's an important thing, RC.
No. But again, you're right. I'm just saying that the style of pace that they play and getting downhill and getting in the paint, it creates foul trouble. It creates issues that if you come across a team and you don't have depth to deal with that, you got a problem. And then if they're knocking down shots, all they need is a couple of guys to knock down shots.
I just don't know if they can win. I don't know if they can win 3 or 4 because they can't shoot.
No. I don't think they're going to make a run to Houston, but they're a team I don't want to play no matter where I am in.
Yeah.
Depending on what their final seeding is, how they finish up. I don't want to play them.
I don't want to play them on a second game.
No, hell no.
I don't want to play them on a one-day prep.
No.
At all.
Well, like, I mean, like, yeah, they might. To me, TCU is one of those teams, and this will sound like stupid, but it makes sense. They can't shoot, but they can score.
Right.
You know what I mean? So like to me, we talk about Tennessee. Like Tennessee can't score. And so when you get into, you know, a Sweet 16 and Elite 8, you know, that is going to be a problem. But like TCU can score. They can put that ball on the ground. Like Mike is a bucket. You know, Damian Baugh actually is really improved from 3 compared to when he was at Memphis. You know, and Emmanuel Miller had 20 for him tonight. Like, I mean,
they put so much pressure on you on the bounce that when you rotate, their threes aren't contested. You're going to have to just say, hey, you're going to live with it. If they knock them down, then you got a problem.
You know, and then of course you got big man in the middle, you know, who's a good passer. can definitely make that happen on the inside too. So how many teams from the Big 12 can we get in? Can we get all of them in? Is there anybody we can't get in?
Yeah, I think you're down to 7 now. I honestly think you went from where people were talking 9 or crazy 10. Nobody was really talking 10, but there was a moment 2 weeks ago when you were saying, all right, Texas Tech's coming back. Oklahoma State was winning without Avery Anderson at that point. And you were like, West Virginia's still got a good shot. Their numbers were ridiculous and are still good enough. I think now Oklahoma State's dead to me. Like, I can't see that, because I think the committee now is going to have to look at them without Avery Anderson, and they're not good. They've lost 5 in a row. So I think they're done. Oklahoma, we know, is done. They've been done. And Texas Tech, boy, I mean, they got to win this last game and probably do a little damage in the Big 12 tournament. West Virginia, I think, is still in as the 7th.
I can't see it, Jeff. I don't think the league. I know the league is strong, but I can't say a team that's 6-11 in their league belongs in the tournament. I don't think that league, unless you're telling me, like I said, the Lakers and the Clippers are playing in that league with KD and the Suns.
Yeah,
6-11, you can't. That league isn't that great. I think they get 6 or 7 in there, and that's it. I mean, 7.
I'm going 7. I'm going 7.
Chat says Kansas is watching the show right now, so shout out to the Jayhawks for following along here on YouTube. Jeff, you've had a lot of bad takes in your career.
Yeah,
it's been a long career, but
I mean,
this next one may be your worst.
Wow.
We're gonna get into it. When we come back, you're listening to the Field of 68 After Dark on Sirius XM channel 84 here on YouTube. Back after this.
And Rob, if you listening, man, we gonna have to drop you on the teasers, man. I hope you're getting your game on.
It's amazing.
He 2 for 2 right now.
All right, chat question for you. Can Penn State still make the tournament?
Hell yeah. Yep, absolutely. Absolutely. That win was huge.
That was a big
That's a quad 1 win.
That's a big win.
That's going to move them probably into the first 4, I would say, with that win. That could jump 3, 4, 5 teams with that 1 win.
That puts them 8 and 9 and 10 maybe right now, something like that. So, yeah, they're still got a chance.
Man, I like Texas Tech. I know you don't, you don't rock with whatever, but that team's actually tough as hell.
They are. No.
I think they're tough. I just don't think they belong in the tournament.
Right now, they don't. Their resume's not good enough, and I'm questioning as to why
30.
It took so long.
West Virginia just got to win this last game. They got to beat Kansas State at home.
Yeah.
If they do that,
think they're in?
I think they're a lock if they beat Kansas State at home. A lock. At 7 wins, a lock.
7-11, and they're
10
in?
seconds.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
They can't.
You watch. Their numbers are really good.
Here we go.
Welcome back to Field of 68 After Dark. We're here on Sirius XM channel 84. We're on YouTube. Like, subscribe, Field of 68. Let's get it going. Jeff Goodman has turned his hat around. For 45 minutes, this bastard was sandbagging us. He was trying to make us feel like he was in on Memphis. And look, I don't want to do the history lesson. So let's just pretend like Men in Black, boom, nobody remembers anything you've ever said. So let's just start over. What is your opinion about Penny Hardaway at Memphis?
I love the guy as a human being. I love him. And man, he was fun to watch as a player. Like one of the best. Okay. But I'm going to take all that out of the equation. I'm not going to get emotional, and I'm not going to use what he did to put himself in that program. I'm not going to Patrick Ewing this. I'm not going to Chris Mullen this. I'm going to take all the emotion out right now. All right. And I'm going to give you some numbers. All right. And here's what I'm going to tell you is Penny Hardaway has gone to 1 tournament in its first 4 years. That's 25% of the time. Okay. He wasn't going the year that they canceled the tournament. He wasn't going to go. I don't think he was going to go.
No, he wasn't. He went on track.
Right. So you're talking 25%. This year, they may or may not go. Right
They're
now in
going.
bracket matrix, they're an
You see
11.
They're going.
You got to
They're
cut
not
that.
a
shit.
lock.
You got to cut that.
They're
Oh my
going.
God. They
They're
are
going.
not a
They're
lock.
going. They are
They're
in
not a
every
lock.
bracket that is out there. They are going.
Okay.
Except
fine.
your own.
All right. Let's say they're going.
That's 2 out of 5.
Traditionally, by the way, they've been to 3 Final Fours. They've been to 11 Sweet 16s in the illustrious history of Memphis Tiger basketball. Dana Kirk was really good, as we remember. That was before you were born, John. But RC and
I'm
I
a student
remember
of
the
history. I know
the
all
Keith
about
Lee
Dana.
days. Yes, Larry Finch was pretty darn good.
Yep.
He went to an Elite Eight. John Calipari, we know what he did, right? We know what he did. Title game, couple Elite Eights, and oh, by the way, Josh Pastner, who was rightfully fired, who was mediocre, went to 4 tournaments in 7 years. Can anybody do the percentages of that? 4 out of 7 compared to 1 out of 4.
John,
Well,
you
it's
gonna
going
start.
to be 2 out of 5.
I mean,
Yes.
So it's
we don't know
40%
that yet. We're
Yes.
not counting chickens before they hatch.
Yes,
We are
They're
not.
going. They're going. They would have to completely just fall out on their face. They're not going to do that. They're scared when Kendrick Davis went down and he came back. I thought it was, but like you said, I think we can't pick and choose who gets COVID. I mean, we always say, "Oh, they went through COVID and this kind of changes their program." I think from going through NCAA, sanctions are hovering over the program is something you got to think about. He survived it, and I think the other thing is just even from the job. I think it's with so many teams, with Cincy, UCF, everybody's leaving, going to the Big 12 next year. I don't know if the job, if the expectations outside of Memphis is what everyone thinks it should be. It isn't the same as we thought it was before because of those things. Like now it's going to be what? They're sitting in this league and it's just going to be them and who?
Nobody. It's back to CUSA. That's it's worse. It's the second iteration of CUSA where it sucked. That's what I'm saying. I heard you say it earlier in the year, RC, and you were like, well, look, they're winning 20 games every year.
They are.
Yeah. Well, they're playing ECU in Tulsa in USF. Come on. I mean, this league stinks.
Okay, can I make the case?
Go ahead.
They beat 4 SEC teams this year.
Yes.
They beat 4.
Who are they?
They were 3. They beat Vandy, which looks
Yep.
better. That was at Vandy. They beat A&M. They
Yep.
beat Ole Miss, who I know is bad.
Yeah.
I'm missing one. They got 4, and they lost to Alabama by 3. Who could Memphis have hired in 2018 that would have done what
I'm not
Penny is
saying-
doing?
I'm not
But
saying to
that
fire
has
Penny
to
Hardaway.
inform- that
I'm
has
not saying to
inform
fire
your
Penny
opinion.
Hardaway, guys.
You asked,
I get
is
it.
he the right guy?
You're
asked,
getting
is he
it
the right
wrong.
guy?
All right.
And the answer is there was no other guy who could have come in here, restored attendance from nothing after Tubby ruined the program, who recruited 3 top 5 recruiting classes in his first 5 seasons, who landed the #1 player for the first time in program history. And oh, by the way, is going to make the tournament this year and is bringing in another top 5 class, beat the charges, as Randolph mentioned.
Yeah.
There's nobody else who could have come in here and accomplished what Penny has accomplished. The problem is your expectations are out of
Yes.
whack because you are
They're not
basing
out of
what you-
whack.
But
How are
Jeff,
they out of
I
whack?
think you can take that same. I think we can take that same expectation you have that you're saying for Penny.
Yeah.
And I think if we can look at coaches that have been hired in the last 3 or 4 years, and I don't think they meet that standard.
Like
Man,
who?
I'm just thinking of in general. Just thinking of if we start going off and holding them to that standard of saying if they say, hey, 20 wins, like I mean, who's coming in last? If we're gonna
At a good program that should be running the league with Houston. Do we agree with that?
but they are, they're second in the league. They can't Houston's number 1.
With
They were
Houston.
here. No. Here's what they've been. 5th, 3rd, and then this year they're 3rd again. They're behind Tulane, are they not?
No, they're in front of Tulane.
No, they're
They're in front of Tulane now.
They're ahead 2-1, yeah.
But didn't they lose
Look,
to Tulane twice?
I'm not going to sit here and act like Penny is above reproach. I think there have been years where he made critical roster errors and misjudgments, right? I think there have been staffing missteps. Like, I'm not going to sit here and act like I've been critical of Penny. I'm not afraid to do that.
He's grown
right?
on the job.
But we're also talking about a guy who was coaching at East High School 5 years ago, had never worked a day in college basketball, and he's going to make 2 tournaments in 5 years. The first year was totally Tubby Smith players.
I don't know how you guys are like locking him in for the tournament when they're an 11 seed on every bracket.
I will buy you every drink. I'll play this.
There you go. Jump out there,
every
John.
Drink, every meal, every whatever else it is you're doing. Okay. If they miss the tournament.
Now that's a bet right there.
I'm going to get back to it. Here's what I'm going to get back to ultimately. If you're a Memphis fan, are you content with just slipping into the NCAA tournament 40% of the time? Just barely getting in, and honestly on Selection Sunday, wondering, are you definitely in or not?
The only person that's wondering is you. That's it.
The last 2 years, Jeff, I don't think it's been that close.
All right, last year they were not 8-9 games. So I'll give you that.
I mean, the
right now they're an 11. They're an 11.
Yeah, the start of that season was disappointing. They ultimately won a game, and they were up 10 against Gonzaga at the half. Right?
No, listen.
So has it been disappointing from a big picture standpoint compared to what maybe people thought it could be because we let our imaginations go crazy? Sure. But I think when you sort of take it year by year, it's fine. Like, he's doing a pretty good job.
Hey, Jeff, it's like how I always address the Texas job when I'm like, give it to Rodney Terry, because everybody's like, oh, they're going to get Cal. They're going to get who? I'm like, Texas, who do you want? Your last 2 coaches are top 10 in the country.
Yeah.
Barnes and Shaka, you ran them off and they're top 10 in the country. Like, who the hell do you want? Like, you're Texas basketball.
We got to pull Jeff out of 2008. Right, he's still in San Antonio when Memphis lost to Kansas.
Like, I miss those days.
You got to join. But that was an outlier. That was 1 4-year span in a 111-year history, and it's not fair for any coach, whether it's Penny or Josh or whoever, to be held to something that will never come again in college basketball. Be it at Memphis, be it at Bama, you name it. There ain't going to be another program that wins 30 games 4 straight years.
I'll get back to it. I'm not saying they should do anything with Penny. I love Penny. I just want them to be more relevant than they are, which is
pretty relevant.
No, they're not that relevant.
Jeff,
I think
the changes of everything around them, the changes of everything that's going on around them that's out of Penny's control with the realignments and everything else, I think they're being stuck at the table without a seat.
Well, they will be.
It will be. And it will be. And I think it hurts the program.
They're not there yet.
I think it hurts the program. And that's not Penny's fault. But I think
of course not.
It's not his fault, but I think that's what's going to happen, and it hurts them because they're going to be left without a chair at the table.
Well, here's the thing. This is a discussion that could go on for a whole another hour. But
at least I won the debate. At least I know I won.
Oh, you won. You won, man. You won. That's Randolph Childress. That's Jeff Goodman. I'm John Martin. Thanks for tuning in to Field of 68 After Dark on SiriusXM, channel 84 and YouTube. Thanks for listening. See you tomorrow.
Good job.
And declare.
You guys good? You need to get more out?
No, I'm done.
No, Jeff
knows.
Jeff
knows. John and I'll be drinking. We'll be drinking ourselves with alcohol poison by the time we get to Houston.
Yeah. Like Matthew Mayer's caffeine poisoning.
I was texting him today about that. He said he did like 5 of them within like 3 hours.
I don't want to talk about it. All right, chat questions.
All right.
Who is the most dangerous team in the Big East in the tournament? Not the Big East tournament, but
UConn.
Who? UConn? Think so.
Or Villanova.
It might be I mean, they're not.
You talking about for the Big East tournament or NCAA?
No, NCAA tournament.
Oh, I think it's UConn.
You do.
I'm gonna side with Randolph there.
I'm gonna go Xavier.
Sanogo is just unstoppable, bro.
I'm gonna go Xavier. They got 2 point guards.
Yeah, they do. But
that's the only thing.
Give them the business.
UConn doesn't have a point guard.
They don't.
Like,
but they got
deep can you go?
Ball handlers though.
But how deep can you go without a point guard? Really hard.
I mean that's
really
true.
hard.
That's a good point.
I think their upside and talent overall though is the best in the league. I think they
agree.
have the best
I
overall
agree.
talent. And if they're playing with enough guys and Jordan Hawkins playing the way he's playing right now,
Here's
they
another
just-
one.
they-
Hey,
they're just
I'm gonna give you one more. One coach has been to 3 Elite Eights. The other coach hasn't really done anything in the tournament and gets pretty tight at times.
true.
That's
I won't
fair.
argue.
That's a fair
I won't-
point.
I won't argue that.
Yeah.
I go with coaching more paramount than anything this year. This year more than ever because of the talent disparity isn't great. I'm going coaches more than ever before when I pick my bracket.
I don't think that's a strategy that will end too poorly.
It usually doesn't, right? I mean, you
Yeah.
might get a few
Yeah.
outliers here or there, but
Yeah.
for the most part, I mean, Kelvin Sampson's done pretty well in the tournament the last couple of years.
Yep.
Hell of a
Yep.
coach. I'm gonna ride with Kelvin.
Yep. I mean, that's 100%
Hard not
true.
to with that dude. He's
Right,
real deal.
right. He's finally. You guys feel like Kelvin finally has gotten his he was such a pariah for a while, obviously, because he did some
We're
dumb
on that.
shit with the phone calls, right? That just it just didn't make sense in a way. But now I feel like, all right, because the phone calls were so stupid, and we see it now, and you see what a great coach he is, and he can do it old school. Like that's the beauty right now. Like he has not changed how he coaches at all, and he's winning at this high a level. Like I have so much respect for him.
The chat wants to know, Jeff, how did it feel to lose a stare down to Fran McCaffrey?
That was pretty funny last night. Did you see that, RC?
Yeah, I did.
I wanted to get him on because I wanted to ask him a question about his wife, Margaret, and what she would do to him, which I did ask him at the end, if he tried to give her the stare down, because she's way tougher than any. And the McCaffrey's got some shit to him. She's tougher than all of them. She played at Notre Dame. She was a star at Notre Dame. And that's why everybody's got Fran on the kind of the board for Notre Dame right now. I don't know if he can get it, but losing the stare down, I couldn't keep a straight face with Fran.
He would fit the profile of what I think they would be looking for.
Little older. I don't know if but Swarbrick, their AD's older, so maybe he would go with Fran. Maybe.
With their limitations, and I said this, I actually said this to Mike Bray. I didn't even ask him to respond, but like I told you this, covering that game, seeing what they're dealing with, the standards and everything else, he would fit. Because the guys that they're going to go after, guys will get in there and hear what the limitations are, and they're going to be like, nah, I'm good. They're going to be like, I'm good. So a guy like him, if they can get McCaffrey,
Right, because he's not getting top 50 players.
Right. That's what I'm saying. And
He's
the
used
way
to
they're constructed right now, you're not doing that at Notre Dame right now. You can't miss 5 classes and no, that's not
I
happening.
would hire Micah Shrewsbury. That's who I would hire at Notre Dame. I like Micah. I know,
You're getting
right
in
now
on the
they're on the
ground
bubble.
floor there. I mean,
I know he hasn't done a ton yet. I've known him forever, and he's got some NBA background also with the Celtics, obviously. He's been around Brad, Painter, been around some really good coaches.
I think he's a hell of a coach. I think he can get another job. I just think that was going to be a tough one. Not for him.
You know what he's got that I didn't realize? He's got more shit to him on the court.
Mm.
I didn't know that. I thought he was too nice a guy. But I go Micah.
That's a complete rebuild right there, too, where you can't, and it's going to be difficult to get transfers in there.
Yep.
That's not a place you get many transfers in.
But
They're
where would you
grad
rather
students.
be, Notre Dame or Penn State? Don't say Penn State.
If
Don't.
I'm him, I probably would say I think he might be good where he is.
He's from the Midwest, too.
South Bend?
Well, that's the Midwest.
I mean, yeah, but I don't need to be in South Bend. I don't see him wanting to be in South Bend. I just don't see it.
All right.
I mean, but it's.
What else we got?
Real quick, on the flip side of that, several people are asking if, Jeff, you have heard anything about Mike Bray or where you guys think Mike Bray might go.
I mean, obviously, you keep hearing St. John's and Georgetown. I think he's going to be down the list on both. I think he'll be on the list. If it had been 5-10 years ago, I would say, hey, Georgetown, both of them would be a home run. But I don't know if Mike Bray's got that fire anymore. That worries me. That would worry me bringing on Mike Bray. Love him to death. I don't know if he's got that killer anymore.
I think he does. I think Notre Dame beat him up. And the reason I say that is because, again, covering a game there, shoot around, games at 7 o'clock, and guys couldn't get to the court till 3:30 and finished up at 4. It's like when you in today's time, if you can't miss a class or two at 1 o'clock and later for shoot around at the level they're playing, you got no shot.
But you know what?
He can't get transfers.
But why didn't he get more dudes this year? Why didn't he go and get a few more? Like, I just felt like he was okay with those older guys. But you need more
the problem
depth.
is if you can't get transfers in the middle of the year, he can only get grad students. So when you get the reason I say that is because the administration that Manning dealt with at Wake before, where it was like, don't even bring me a transcript unless it's a 3.0.
Right.
So if you notice, all their guys are grad transfers. They're not getting no underclassmen, and when they do, they got Cormac Ryan from Stanford.
Right.
Like you can't say, hey, I'm gonna get a kid from Stanford, I'm gonna get a kid from Vandy. Who are those guys leaving? You can get them into school. And I think if that doesn't change, then you better get. I think he just got tired of that. I said that to him, and I said, I don't even want you to answer it.
Yeah, just interrupt me if I'm wrong.
Don't even answer it.
Exactly.
But I think it's still there. I think he's just more fed up with, like, look, man, I've been here long enough. I got all these senior guys.
Yep.
This is a total rebuild next year because he's recruiting well.
Yeah, I mean, J.J. Starling and Blake Wesley the last 2 years. I mean, you bring those students to Georgetown or St. John's.
Lubin.
Right. He's 63. So it's not like he's still got a few good years left if he really wants it. But to me, if I'm Mike Cragg at St. John's, I'm bringing him in and I want to hear it, man. I want to hear it. I want to see a plan. I want to make sure you're not, going through the motions here for a paycheck to get back to the Northeast. Georgetown. It depends what else you're talking about, right? Yeah. It depends. Who else can you get? If you're not going Rick Pitino at Georgetown, who else are you going to get that's going to blow me away? Like a name that I don't think has been talked about enough at either of those two places that I really like is Mike Rhodes at VCU.
Yeah, I like Bobby Hurley at St. John.
I do too, because he brings that shit. He brings the shit.
I think he fits it. I think it's time. I think he's turned things around and put Arizona State right there.
Yep.
To get back
agree.
in it.
Yeah.
I think he's done enough that if I'm St. John, that's a call I'm making.
I'm with you. I'm there. I'm there with that one too. I'm there. I think it's a no-brainer to bring Bobby. And I think where he wouldn't do it a few years ago because of the money and whatever. Now I think it's at the point of
I think it's the time.
I can't stay at Arizona State because I'm going to be in the hot seat every year.
Yep.
Here's an out-of-the-box one from Brady. If you guys had to start a program with a coach who had no high major experience, who are you hiring?
Coach that had no high major experience, who am I hiring?
Meaning even as an assistant, you're saying?
Right, like, yeah. But they don't. I'm assuming they mean like as a head coach.
For the simplification of this question, let's just say
head coach.
Yeah.
Has Amir had high major experience down at Kennesaw?
No, not head coaching. No.
Yeah, I would. He would be high on my list.
How about a guy? Actually, I'd be curious your take on this one. At the right spot, Ryan Odom, who you must know well.
Yeah, I know very well. I think he'll get it in time.
I mean, he's done a good job at Utah State, which I thought was completely outside the box.
Yeah, he'll get one.
Like, I was curious to hear your take on him.
Yeah, he'll get one.
Colgate.
I think Bob Ritchie will get one.
Matt Langle. That's my name for you. Matt Langle at Colgate. It's the worst job in the Patriot League, and that dude has owned that league for the last 5 or 6 years. To me, he's my guy. And he recruits shooters, skilled dudes, know how to play. They move the ball. Now, obviously, he's got to up it with some better athletes if he goes to the high major level. But Matt Langle for me, no doubt.
Yeah, I think Amir Abdul-Rahim at Kennesaw State.
He's done a great job this year.
Yes, he has. I think I like Bob Ritchie at Furman.
Yep.
And I don't know if we can consider
Dusty
James
May.
Jones.
I mean, Dusty May has done a great job.
Yeah, James Jones up at Yale.
Yeah, he deserves one.
I think he should get one.
It's hard coming out of those academic schools. Like, I remember talking to Joe Jones.
Yeah.
When he was at Columbia, and then he went to BU. They were in the America East for a while, and then they went to the Patriot League. So he's back in like an academic school. I think Joe Jones would kill it, to be honest. They didn't have a great year this year, but his personality, I think he'd kill it, just like his brother James would.
What are your guys' thoughts on
Paul Mills at Oral Roberts? Another one? Go ahead. Sorry, Troy.
No, you're good. Several people in the chat asking about Vanderbilt, Stackhouse. Do you think they potentially could make the tournament after that win tonight?
No. It's not a big enough. If it was Kentucky like we thought Kentucky was, maybe. What do you guys think of the job? Like, I've been really hard on Stack. I certainly think they've been better this year, but I also think part of that is due to the SEC. I just don't think the SEC is that good this year.
Yeah, I mean, because I thought we probably should have spent a little bit more time on this during the show. You know, we got so many things we got to fucking talk about.
Yep.
Like, that job is so hard.
Yep.
And I mean, you guys talking about Notre Dame. It's got a lot of the same sort of different, the same challenges, right? Like, they have like no tradition. B, I assume
Kevin Stallings won there.
Come on, bro.
He won there.
Come on. He did.
Won there. RC, did he win there?
He did.
He got
won, what are we talking about? We're talking about, okay, he makes a tournament, he gets the top 25. 16? Yeah, I mean, but that's it.
Good job.
They have, I assume, no NIL money.
But it makes it worse, to your point right now. The times we're in right now with not paying, no NIL, and the inability to take advantage of the transfer portal, that's not a quick fix. Like, it's much harder of a job now. And I think he's doing a hell of a job.
So I think he's doing as good of a job as you can realistically do.
Yes.
Now, what does that mean? I mean, I don't know what that means, but I definitely if you have him on your shit list, you should probably take him off. Because this dude's grind. Like, he was in the G League, you know what I mean? Like, this is not a guy that just decided he was doing the AAU thing. He didn't just decide, I want to be a coach, make me a coach. Like, he came about it the honest way and the earnest way. And like, I respect the shit of it. It was looking bad for a long time. And look at what they've done the last 7 to 8 games of their schedule.
Yeah, no, they've done well.
They've been playing really good. They go into Lexington and win for the first time since 2007. Like, come on, dude. Come on.
They are now. Are they 500 in the league?
They're above 500, 10-7.
Yeah, they're like 10-7. Yeah,
they're 10-7.
Are they really now? Yeah.
I mean, it's not far fetched to say that. I mean, they're 17-13. If they would have went out and make a deep run to the SEC championship, then 100%. You got a conversation. So it's not out of the realm. I mean, they're 10-7 in the SEC with 17-13 overall. I mean, he's had a hell of a year, but it's just tough. It's just a hard ass job because you can't get transfers in there.
Yeah.
Nope. So I give him his props, man. I mean, I know that most people won't even register, right? Other than like the story's going to be Kentucky is a disaster. They're going to be lighting mattresses on fire and shit. But like, very quietly, that was not a fluke tonight. That was not a fluke. What
Vanderbilt, just so you know, Vanderbilt's net before today was not 85, 4-9 in quad ones. Yeah, they're not going to. But even an NIT for Vandy this year would be.
Yeah, it's good. It's progress.
Yep. No, I listen. I was ready a year ago to say he was probably done this year, or he'd even look to get out and go back to the NBA if he could. And now I feel like they got some good momentum down the stretch here. The guy can coach. I'm not saying he can't coach. Yeah. I just don't think he values recruiting nearly enough, and you got to figure out.
Vandy, like, you really have to do it a different way. Yeah. Like I mean, it's I don't know him, so I can't speak to him personally.
Don't tweet anything negative. If you tweet something positive about him, you'll be good. But if you tweet something negative, you will be blocked.
But damn, you're relentless on his ass. You were tweeting.
No, you were tweeting. My big thing with him, it wasn't even on him. My biggest problem was when the new AD took over. He fired Bryce Drew after like a month on the job, the new AD. He went to a practice once, and Bryce Drew had gone to the tournament his first year, and then he went 0 for his third year. He was terrible. but they lost Darius Garland after 5 games. Well, Darius Garland proved that to be pretty good, right?
Pretty good
So
player.
I just felt like he went to the tournament the first year. I would have given him one year. I would have given him a 4th year. And then you want to whack him after his 4th year? Absolutely, go ahead. But to come on the job and a month later for him, it wasn't about, and then it was stacked too. It was like the former NBA player who's made $100 million. We know where I stand with those guys. They traditionally don't work out.
Mm-hmm. They don't. And I mean, and that's why, like, to your Penny conversation, like this is not Patrick Ewing. This is not Chris Mullen. Did any of that?
No.
I mean, Pat Ewing had a miraculous tournament appearance, right?
Right.
And then Mullen never went, did he?
He did a first 4.
He did.
He did a first 4.
He went to the tournament 4 times?
No, he went to
first 4.
first.
He got the first 4.
Oh, first. Okay.
I mean, he still wasn't good. I mean, he was sitting literally. I remember going to a game, and I was watching the games on TV, and they had this young kid, Greg St. Jean, who's Greg St. Jean, right? And young kid, 26 years old, and he was literally coaching the team. And Mully would just be sitting during timeouts, sitting on the scorer's table, just hanging out. And so I went to a game in person. I'm like, I got to see this shit live. Like, I got to see it close up. So I sat right behind the different angles I wanted to see it from. And I'm like, sure enough, like Mully just didn't. Yeah, he didn't want to work. And again, it's hard for me because I love Mullen. I love Ewing. Like, you want to see Penny. Like, I want to see these guys succeed.
Well, Penny's out of that group, bro. I mean, that's what I'm trying to convey.
Yeah.
He's about to
I
go
agree
to
with that.
Because those guys didn't go to multiple tournaments, right? They didn't go to multiple tournament appearances. So
Neither has
Penny's
Penny.
about to do that.
Penny
Penny's about to do
hasn't
that.
Yeah.
Well, he's
What about
going to, bro.
a
You've
week
got
What
to
if Rob Lanier beats their ass? Then what are you
Kendrick
gonna do?
Davis is not about to let that happen. Like, he's not going down there and losing.
All right,
it ain't happening.
let's get to toast of the night before somebody explodes.
Who's going to explode?
Maybe me. Maybe he means me. Which I'm just on 10 all the time.
I agree to say it's normal. It's all of us. Don't worry.
All right.
Yeah.
I don't even have a good. I mean, I have one toast, but I don't know. Archie, you want to start?
I'll go first. I'm going to go to Crimson Tide. I mean,
To who?
Alabama.
Won a regular season SEC title this year.
Pretty
So
good.
congratulations. I got you guys going to the Final Four, baby. Don't mess my money up.
Oh, wow. Oh, you got like a wager on that.
No, I'm kidding. I ain't bet nothing on it. But I do. If I had to, I'd put my money on them. I've been on record for it. I think they're going to be in Houston.
Do you think they're going to win it all?
I think they have of all the teams we're talking about. I think I love their talent.
Yeah, I do too.
I love
You
the
get to
way
the
they
Final
play. I
Four,
love their
you're
talent
two
because they
away.
defend.
I just want to see them get back to where, like, I don't know, that the distractions aren't overwhelming, and I'm just afraid. I'm afraid if they like go to when they go to the NCAA tournament, it's going to be a shit show. And I know you're saying they don't have to bring those dudes.
I wouldn't. I'm assuming they're going to do that. Like, there's no way I'm putting a microphone in front of Brandon Miller right now. That's all I'm saying.
I'll bet you money Brandon Miller takes the stage for the NCAA tournament. By then, he's prepped.
That's possible. Yeah.
You
Give
know,
him a company line at that point.
you got to handle a PR person for him right now.
Yeah, you got to give him a company line at that point.
Yep. All right, I'm going Penn State. I'm going Penn State, man. After that loss to Rutgers, to come back, and we talked about Xavier being mentally tough. These dudes, Cam Winter, to make that shot at the end. They missed the shot. Funk misses one wide open in regulation at the end. And then they come back and they win this game that honestly might have been the game that's going to put them in the tournament at the end of the day. Like, that might have been the shot, the game, the everything. And who would have thought it would have come at Northwestern in Evanston? Like, that's the crazy part. That's a huge resume win. So, to Penn State, that again, the program, Pat Chambers had them almost in the tournament. They were in, and then the tournament got scrapped, but hopefully they get in.
And then probably no surprise, I am gonna do a toast for Penny Hart. I'm just kidding. I'm not gonna do a toast for Penny.
I was hoping you would.
I should, but no, he didn't play tonight. So I'm gonna give it up for Jerry Stackhouse, man, to go into Lexington for the first time in 16 years. And another thing we didn't mention about that game is that on the game winner, 99 out of 100 coaches would have called a timeout and set up a play.
Yes.
Very true.
Jerry Stackhouse said, you know what? I trust these guys, even in the most hostile environment that they'll probably see all year long.
Yeah.
He let them play. And I think it really caught Kentucky off guard because they were kind of playing for it because the guy went to the sideline and they got a good shot off and it went in. So I got to give it up to Jeff. That's a coaching move.
One's an X's and O's coach and one's a talent coach.
Hey,
that's right.
And it's funny you say that. It's the truth. I thought he did a hell of a job with the small ball. I thought he took, like most people are thinking, hey, put Oscar Sheepway in the ball screen. Nah, he stretched Oscar Sheepway out and just put Livingston in the ball screen and just went at him. I mean, that was their play to go to. He saw his matchups out there and was just like, all right, he's still out there. All right, go at him.
Yep. No, it was a coaching masterclass, man. That was a big time win for them. And I hope they find a way to get in. I hope they can do enough because, I think he deserves it for sure.
You know what I'll say? The SEC tournament, kind of wide open other than Bama.
It is.
Like if Bama gets knocked, and Bama's not playing they're playing for a number one seed, but even if they lose, they're probably still going to get a number one.
Still
That's what I'm saying. Really, if you're Bama and you're young, which you are, and a little inexperienced, like you could get knocked off in the SEC tournament.
Yeah,
and they haven't been playing great.
Like they don't care about the. I mean, you know what I mean? It's not going to.
They haven't even been playing great. That's the thing. It's like they're kind of primed to get hit, and if they are, who's the favorite now in the SEC tournament? Am I wrong? Isn't it wide open?
Arkansas
with the Sakai injury. I mean,
that hurts. That's we didn't even mention that. We should have mentioned it. That's a killer.
I mean, his injury just. Ziegler, that changes Tennessee would have been the next team, and you feel so bad for
him. About it. Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. So you got
who's their ball handler now? I mean, is it Vescovi? Like what? Who is it?
Yeah, he'll be their point guard. Yeah, they don't have another point guard.
See, that's a problem because he needs to be off the ball.
Correct.
To me,
I would go with Arkansas. Already struggling to shoot.
Exactly.
I'd go with Arkansas if you put a gun in my head of who else.
Right.
But again, you watch them last night and you're like, what the hell? Like, how do you lay an egg like that?
Well, I mean, yeah. But they're clearly a different team when Nick Smith's in the lineup. Like, I'll take that sample size.
He was in the lineup.
He was in the lineup last night.
I know he was. He was. I mean, we talk about road games, You got
to win that game, though. You got to win that one.
Yeah. I mean, I get it. I mean, Tennessee's been sliding and they didn't have Ziegler, but I'll forgive them that one. Like I think on a neutral site, neutral court, they're going to have a lot to say,
I'm just saying it'll be a fun tournament because you could get somebody coming out of nowhere like a Vandy. You could get somebody making a run like that.
It could be a bid sale. Somebody can get it in all these conferences, really outside the Big 12 and the Big East. Somebody can steal a bid. And that's even in the Big East, because Villanova could do it.
Villanova's the only one. Yes.
Villanova's the only one. I mean, there's still one, but everywhere else, I mean, ACC is possible. SEC outside of Bama is possible.
I mean, Texas Tech's playing so well.
Yeah,
like,
they could.
They can get to the final and then make it interesting.
True.
Although I don't think anybody's knocking off Kansas. I think those motherfuckers can win the championship again.
They could.
I mean, I really do.
No doubt.
I mean, they're tough, dog. They're tough.
Yeah.
Don't get an argument for me on that, brother.
No doubt.
Hey, this was fun. We got to do it again.
We will. No doubt, we'll do it again. Good job. Good job your first show. Even though the two of you still couldn't handle me.
Nah, man, we let you off the hook. He lucky we got to it with only about 7 minutes or so to go.
Right,
man.
that's right.
It bailed him out.
We could have done at least 2 hours probably.
It bailed him out. We bailed him out.
I mean? So, all right, boys.
All right, guys.
Is this the end? We just wrap it up.
You got to sign off now. You got to do an official sign off still.
Okay. Well, excuse the shit out of me. All right. Excuse me. You've been listening to the Field of 68 After Dark Afters. This has been the Afters.
That's right.
That's right.
We've been taking your questions kindly.
Yes.
And I was told 15 minutes. This shit's been 24. So
we'll pay you for it. Don't worry. We'll pay you overtime.
9 extra minutes It's been a blast. Thanks for tuning in. Again, like, subscribe on the YouTube channel, Field of 68, Sirius XM 84. We'll see you guys. Thanks for listening.